Welcome to my SQL video tutorial series. This is our third video, and then we are going to continue to build our school database. We created the first table of our school database, which was for the entity students. The second entity we want to deal with is the exam entity. So this table is going to keep the exam records of our students. Okay, so before we go to that, I also appreciate it if you can subscribe to the channel and then give us some thumbs up or share your comments. Yeah, I'll really appreciate that so that we can grow the channel. Okay, thank you. Let's jump into the DBL300 connection. Okay, so now we are on the Workbench editor, and you can see that in the general script, that is the UPS general, we still have our commands there. We are going to reuse some of these commands. Okay, let's also look at our navigator. On the navigator, we have three schemas or three databases, but none of them is active at the moment, and this is something you should pay very good attention to. Anytime you open your Workbench editor, make sure you look at the navigator to make sure that the database you want to work on is present, and also you have to activate that database. So if no database is activated and we try to execute any command, then we'll run into an error. We don't want that. So let's activate our UPS ADB. Okay, I'm going to reuse the second command here. Let's execute that. Okay, so you can see it's now activated. UPS DB is now active in bold letters, and the others are not in bold. So it means our UPS DB is active. Good. Let's also look at our student profile table. This was a table we created to collect the student personal information. Okay, so let's move on to create a new script where we can create our exam table. You could put all your tables in one script. If I normally like to put them in different script, that looks much more organized to me. Okay, so let's start to create our exam table. So create table, you bring the table name exam, and then you open your braces where you enter your fields. Okay, so let's zoom that out. All right, so in this bracket we are going to capture all the fields we want to include in our exam table. Let's start with the exam title. Okay, and what should the data type be? We can use varchar here. Varchar, and the size I want to go for 60. So I'm assuming that the exam title wouldn't be more than 60 characters or digits. The next one we will add is the exam date. The exam date, and the data type will be date. But here we can put a check, just as we put a check in the student date of birth. So the check will ensure that, if you don't want people to put exam dates that are in the future, you can put a check there, because if they've taken the exam already and you want to enter the records, then the exam date should be in the past. So you can put a check to ensure that all dates that are entered into the system are at least in the past. Okay, so we are going to add our check constraint here, and then we'll say exam dates. Yeah, so that will be the criteria here, exam dates. It should be less than or equal to today's date, which is you should put it in quotes. So 21st November, then 23. All right, so let's we are done with that, but still we can also ensure that this particular field is mandatory. So sometimes, I mean, you are entering records and you realize that some fields are what required or they are compulsory. Yeah, so to do that, you simply add not null. Not null means that particular field wouldn't take a null value, or it cannot accept an empty value. Okay, so let's go to the next line and then we can add the course code and the course name. Because if there is an exam, it should be for a course. So the course name, the course name will be very important here, virtual. I can't imagine having an exam that has no course, so that is not possible. Yeah, so let's put something like 50 for the course name. Then we can make it not null as well. Yeah. So when you don't indicate not null, it means by default it will accept a null value. So you don't need to put null. Okay. Let's add the course code as well. Okay, so the course code, we're going to use character for the course code. Normally the course codes are fixed size. So let's say 8 digits. Okay, we can now go to the semester. If they are taking an exam, it should be in a particular semester. So the semester can be some information we are interested in. So the semester, we're going to use enumerate so that we can just allow them to pick a list of values. Okay, so first semester and then second semester. All right, now we can move to the next column. The next column we can add, let's begin to add the scores, okay, the exam scores. So we can say assignment or class assignment. Let's make it class assignment. Okay, so the class assignment, we are going to make it numeric. And then, yeah. So we are not going to say not null. We can leave it to the default. So let's add the interim assessment score. So let's shorten it to IA score here. So numeric as well. Then we can add the final exam score, very important. Okay, that is going to be numeric as well. Okay. Now, let's also compute the grade. Yeah, we like to compute the grade and we like to maybe add a comment. Yeah, so let's compute the grade. To compute the grade, we are going to use the nested if statement here. So let's start by saying grade. Oh, but before the grade, we should know the total score. That can be done as well. So let's start with the total score before we go to the grade. Total score. Then we'll say numeric. And we are going to compute it. So we use the alias. So as. Okay, so we are going to say total score is going to be as. Then we'll open our brackets and put class assignment. So you should make sure you get the you are consistent with your spelling. That's what I mean. Yeah, class assignment. Okay, that's fine. Then plus IA score. Yeah. Okay, then we'll also add the final exam score. So plus final exam. Okay. final exam score here. Okay, we can close the brackets and put a comma and now go to compute our grade. So the grade, we can also have the grade, and the grade is going to be character. So let's say car, and the size of the grade will be 2, because I mean you can have what, A plus or A or something like that. So the maximum of a grade will be what, 2 digits. So let's use 2 digits here. So then we'll say as, then we'll bring our what, if statement, our nested if statements. So we are going to say that if the total score, so I'm going to use underscore here for the total score. So if the total score here is greater than or equal to, so here you are going to use the marking scheme you have in your school. So if the total score is what, greater than or equal to, let's say 80, then they should display A plus. Okay, I'm going to put whatever should be displayed should be in double quote. So let's say A plus. Okay, you put a comma. So if this is not met, then you have to test another if statement. So if it's not met, it means if, then we'll say if the total score is greater than or equal to what, the next the next condition or the next criteria in your grading system. So the next one, perhaps let's use 70. Yeah. Yeah, so if that is met, then they should display a they should display A. Yeah. But if that is not met, it means we have to test another if statement here. Yeah. So yeah, so usually the ifs, you open bracket after every if. Okay, that's what you should do. Okay, so we are going to say if the total score is greater than or equal to, from 70, let's go to 60. Yeah, so the way I'm moving, I think I shouldn't use the A plus and others. We can simply make it A, then perhaps a B here, and then we can make a C here. Okay, so let's put a comma, and then if that is not met, it means it is less than what, 60. So we'll test another condition for 50. All right, so let's test our second condition here. So using what, another if. Okay, so our next, it will be what, 50. And if that is met, then they should display from C we go to D. Yeah, then they should display what, D. Yeah, but if it is not D, then it's F. So the last one, you don't need to test what, any if statement. You just simply put the grade. Else you have what, F. Yeah. Okay. So now you have opened a number of what, brackets here. You should make sure all the brackets are closed. Okay. I can put it this way. You should make sure all the brackets are closed. So right from here, you make sure all the brackets are closed. So we start closing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Once you click on the last one, it will what, show you the corresponding opening bracket. So you can see that at the moment, all our brackets are closed, and this will what, yeah, compute our grade for us. Okay, so I've made it simple. You could what, use A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, C plus, C minus. You could do that as well. Yeah, but we just want to save time here. The logic is more important. Okay, so let's put our comma, and then we'll go to what, compute our comments. Okay, so to compute the comment, I mean, we are going to say remark. let's say remark, then we define the data type. The data type should be what, varchar, or we can use text here this time. Then as, let's begin to use our if. Okay, I should put some if what here. Okay. So the remark is going to be that if the total score is greater than, let's say, 50. Okay, let's break it down this way. If the total score is greater than 70, then we'll say well done. If it is between 60 and 40, we are going to say yeah, better luck next time. And then if it is what less than what 40, we'll say reset. Okay, so let's use the if with what total score here. Okay, so let's use 70. So if it is greater than 70, then we are going to say well done. So this will be what be our outputs if it is what greater than or equal to 70. Else it means it is less than 70. So now if it is less than 70, we want to test to see if it is less than 70 and still what greater than 40. So we'll say if total score greater than or equal to 40, then it should display better luck. Yeah, better luck next time. Okay, so let's say next time, and then we'll what put that in quotes. Else, if that is not the case, then it should display the last comment, and the last comment is that they should reset the paper. So let's say reset. Okay, now it's time for us to close all our brackets. We've opened quite a number of them, so you can always just click to check the corresponding. You can also see that it's too long, so we are unable to see the beginning. Okay. Yeah, I didn't open my bracket here. Okay, so I think we have opened and closed all the necessary brackets. So we are done with what our total score, grade, and then remark. So now let's look to see if there are no errors. We'll execute the code. All right. Okay. All right. So we can see that all the errors have been resolved. So let's go straight to execute the code. Okay, so it's executing and then it's successful now. So our second table has been created as well. Let's go to the general UPS script and then we'll describe our exam table. So describe exam. So this is going to show us the structure of the exam table. Okay, so this is the structure of the exam table. We have a number of fields there. and then the data types are indicated, and then the status of it, whether it's null or it can accept or it is mandatory, then that is also indicated there as well. All right, so we've forgotten one thing. We have not added our primary key. Yeah, so to do that, we can use the alter key here. So anytime you forget to add something, just go and use alter to do that. So I can just go down right here and I'll use what? Alter table exam. So alter table exam. Then we'll add the column. So the column will be what? Primary. Primary key. We'll open a bracket and then we'll add the primary key name to that bracket. Okay, so the primary key should be what? Students. Yeah, so we want it to be the record to be for a student. So the primary key should be student, and we haven't even added our student folder yet. So it means we have to add the student before we make it the primary key. Or at the time of adding it, we can make it the primary key as well. So add what? Student ID. So it should correspond with what? The other student ID. And then character data type. Yeah, car. And then the size was 8, so we'll maintain that consistency here. And then we'll also say primary key. So we'll simply add primary key here. Okay, so I think this will do it for us. Alter table exam, add student ID, data type is character, the size is 8, and that is the primary key. Let's execute this command and see. So that is also successful. Let's get back to the general script and rerun the command. So we'll rewrite command 4. Okay, so now our primary key has been added, and that is what? Student ID. So we're going to stop it here, and then you practice it. The next time we come, we'll be entering what? Data into both our student profile and then our student exam tables. Thank you.